Memory regions are what I like to call our elemental knowledges. And the knowledge is a term where is one of those examples where I have a very specific way of how I have defined knowledge, mainly because knowledge is generally defined as an empirical truth. In this context, I expanded the definition of knowledge outside to include subjective knowledges as well, because we can know how it feels to be sad, but that's empirically unprovable or unshowable to somebody who's trying to feel somebody else's pain. Now, we can feel pain through empathy or by invoking it ourselves, or sadness or any other feeling, but those would still be our feelings, but rather than the feelings of somebody else. So observing somebody else's subjective experience is non-empirical. However, I consider them as knowledge. In fact, I consider every neural firing that creates an area within an organism, an animal organism that serves a specific function that can be isolated, a memory region. They're technically our needs, in essence. Like one example would be within our eyes, there is cells that respond to specific colors or specific levels of light. And if there's an area of, say, blue color detection, even though it's a rainbow, everything is gradual. However, within the context of the changing colors within the rainbow of our cellular response, we can isolate a specific area where we can, yet again, create a bell curve to say, where is the majority, where is the 68%, the first standard deviation of blue expression within our eyes? And in that area, I would say that area would be one memory region that is in charge of dealing with the color blue, per se. Now, there's layers of this within nervous systems of how it works. But as far as the memory regions are concerned, they're embodied, they're in our bodies, they don't move anywhere, and they actually serve a very specific function. George Lakoff was a very good example of somebody who he literally actually defined these different regions as atomic systems that can now cross-bind across domains or within domains to other ones and fire at the same time. And that's conflations, which is what we're going to look at later. But memory regions is the attempt to dial them down to as definable entities as we can within our bodies.